Hey guys, it's GameFace here and welcome back to episode 1 of my new Monaco career mode series that we're going to be starting on this channel. And basically I asked you guys a few days ago what team you'd like to see from the 7 options I gave you. This one won by a mile. It had double the amount of votes of second place and it had a huge amount of votes considering, you know, how there was 7 options to choose from. So it is going to be Monaco that we're going to do for the career mode. A quick note that before we get into things, apologies if the face cam is a little bit different lighting to usual. I'm not used to using natural daylight in the background. Hopefully it's okay though for you guys. But yeah, let's crack on with the first episode. We've got Monaco here. We are going to go with the 60% extra on the transfer budget as well. So that should give us maybe 32 million-ish, I think, roughly. So we'll wait and see exactly how we're able to spend that. I don't want to be bringing in loads of players because the actual squad itself is very, very good already. So I don't want to be having to make loads of signings if I can help it. But yeah, let's pretty much just jump on into this crowd straight away. Before we get any further though, if we could go ahead and hit 50 likes on the first episode of this new series, I would really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen me before, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. It'll be absolutely fantastic. Let's crack on with today's episode. If you don't usually watch these sort of series and you haven't been on the channel before, just to let you know, we do play on Legendary with the sliders slightly in favour of the opposition just to make it even more difficult. And we'll wait and see how we get on with Monaco. First of all though, let's get on with having a look at some of the objectives and making some signings as well. We are going to decline to participate in these sort of pre-season tournaments. Usually I'll probably accept, but we are going to decline in this case because we want to be focusing on transfers and also trying to train our players as well. So I'm going to decline and just give myself some more time before the season starts to try and develop the squad without the interruptions in between. Also a quick note as well, for those of you that wanted other teams from the votes, for example Sunderland, they will actually be used in a career mode. Sunderland will be our next career mode alongside this one because it was second place in the vote, and combined these two had a 50% share of the votes. So it makes sense to bring in Sunderland as well, just as the play career mode leaves us quite early on in that series. But these two now are going to be going on for hopefully quite a long time. We're going to really try and develop this team in particular, bring in some young talent as well through the youth academy, and also develop what we've already got. There's some very, very good players. I'm going to have to hopefully try and work on some of the pronunciation, and Pape I think is the one that's going to be a real standout player for us. But let's take a look at some of the objectives here to begin with. So youth development is a medium objective. They want to sign 4 players in the youth academy assigned to each of the following positions: goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, forward. Brand exposure is also medium, and they want me to sell out at least 85% attendance. That's what a sellout is apparently. At least 70% of the league home games this season. So that's going to be quite tough, to be honest. It's only a small stadium. I imagine they've only given us a small stadium anyway. I'm pretty sure the one in real life is about just over 18,000. The financial objective is actually a low priority one. We've got quite a bit of money, so we don't really have to think about that too much. But within 2 seasons, increase the club worth by 30%. I think that's definitely doable. We might even be able to do that this season. And in the short term, for the domestic success, they want us to finish in the Champions Cup position, and they also want to, in the other cup, to try and reach the quarterfinals. So with that, we should really be able to do. We'll wait and see though as the season goes through, and we'll wait and see what sort of teams we go up against. We might get an unlucky draw, but I'm hoping we should be able to do that one. Continental success is reaching the knockout stage of the Champions Cup. We have got a group for that. It's Arsenal, Juventus, and I think Borussia Mönchengladbach, I think, is the other team. So it's quite a difficult side, a few difficult sides there to play in the Champions Cup, but we'll wait and see exactly how we're able to get on there. It's obviously not the ones that we used in real life. We've also got to qualify for the Euro League as well. That one, I think we should be able to do, really. We should be competing already, I think, this season for the league title. We want to be up there in the top 2 or 3 positions, and I think we've definitely got the squad already to do it, but we need to obviously add some more depth into this team, I think, and we also, I think, need to work on this formation as well. I'm not a huge fan of 4-4-2 on FIFA, so we might have to look at that. So I think the formation we're going to go with is a 4-2-3-1 wide. We'll go with Falcao up top, and basically the only other change is to bring in Moutinho at centre attacking mid. That might be something we look to change. He might be someone that goes on the bench. We might bring in a centre attacking mid instead of using him, just so we've got someone that's a bit more used to playing that position. I know he can obviously play a few different areas in midfield, and I'm looking for someone a little bit, I think, different in terms of his attributes. I think we can also probably play this guy down the centre as well if we really wanted to, but I think in particular we need to look at a centre attacking mid. And Pape is obviously on the bench here. Maybe he could play there. It's obviously not ideal, but I suppose we could give it a go with maybe Falcao at centre attacking mid and him in front. So we've got many different options, but we do need to try and add to this team, and I think this will be the formation that I go with most of the time. It kind of fits the squad that we have and the quality players that we have in the team. But like I say, I still think we need to bring in a couple of extra players because we are a little bit weak. If you look at the rest of the reserves, quite weak there. So we do need to try and bring in some better players. I actually didn't realise we've got this guy here. It's actually a centre attacking mid, 73 overall, 20 years old. We can actually train him up and he might be an okay player in that position, but certainly more of a long-term one for us rather than someone that can play there immediately. I am just going to go through the team now and decide on the players I'm going to try and sell. I don't think there's going to be loads because I think most of them should be okay to just stay as squad players, some of them. But these sort of players that are 22 and 60 overall, they're not going to be good enough really to stay. But yeah, we will go through the rest of the side and decide on who we're going to keep and who's obviously going to leave us. Okay, so there are a few players to transfer list. They're all kind of in that similar sort of region, to be honest, and overall and age-wise. Not in that position where they can grow enough to be good enough, and kind of at that overall where they're not really going to impact the team too much. So I'm listing quite a few of those. 5 of them will go out the door. I don't think it'll really affect our squad too much. Not trying to get rid of any of the key players just yet, because I think we're just going to kind of keep this squad, to be honest. Most of the key players will be remaining in the team. Just going to try and add to it a little bit. I think we need another new centre-back to come into the side, because we do have a couple of decent players. We've got Raggy here as well, which I'd like to incorporate as much as possible. Probably off the bench, though. And we'll have Jemison starting, I think, alongside Glick. But I think we need one more just to kind of give us an extra centre-back in there, just in case we need it, because obviously Diallo, I think is how I pronounce his name. He's not quite good enough just yet, but again, with a bit of training, could be decent next season. But I think for now, we just maybe need to bring in one more. Okay, this is the first player we're going to put in a bid for. It's going to be Kurt Zouma, someone that's not being used that often by Antonio Conte this season in real life. And obviously French as well. I think he'd be a good addition to the team, a really solid centre-back, and kind of fits the overall roughly I think we needed in the squad. Not too sure how much it's going to cost us. 10 million might be overpaying a little bit, so I'll wait and see what Chelsea have to say to that bid. I also feel like we could do with one more centre mid as well, just to kind of again give us another option in there if we need it. And this is the guy I'm going to go for. I'm just going to call him Vincent to try and avoid the mispronunciation of his surname. He's 20 years old, he's obviously playing for Nice, he's another French player as well, and I think he's got a really, really good potential, so we're going to try and bring him in. £5 million to begin with is going to be our initial bid. Again, not too sure how much he's actually going to be worth. So we'll go with that, see what they say about it, and we'll also scout him as well, just to kind of find out what overall exactly he is. But yeah, we are just, I think, going to maybe put in another bid if we can find another centre mid that we are after, someone with a similar sort of kind of playing style as that guy as well. And we're going to wait and see whether we're able to find anyone with that kind of attributes that he has. So nobody that I've found that's exactly like him, but someone that's a little bit different that also plays for Nice, and he's actually quite a good player. He looks like a really talented player based on his stats. He will be someone that we'd quite like to get in, but I've just got a feeling he'd kind of kick everyone else out of the team in that position. I don't really want to have to do that at this stage, but he's certainly someone I'm going to scout and keep an eye on, and maybe put in a bid for him later on. Let me know your thoughts about him in the comments below, and we'll wait and see whether we maybe put in a bid in January or something like that. Another player as well, Tolisso, a Lyon player, would be another one that we're tempted to try and make a bid for as well. But again, he could be a bit too expensive, 21 million. I don't really have to pay that for one player. Okay, so we're also going to take a look at a new winger as well, because I think we've got 3 wingers at the moment. I'd like to add a 4th one into the team, and this guy from Bordeaux looks like he could fit the bill. We've already got quite a few Brazilian players, and this guy is also Brazilian as well, called Malcolm, and 19 years old, seems pretty fast. I've never actually heard of him before, but stats-wise seems pretty good. He's obviously very young, and again, that fits the trend of our squad. He can also play centre-attacking mid as well, which is also what I've been mentioning that we need. I'm not too sure what overall he is, but his stats look decent enough that we can train him up and he can be even better. So we are going to put in a bid for him, and hopefully he can be a little bit of a hidden gem. I've not heard of him before, so maybe he could be a talented player. Try and sign him from Bordeaux, and we'll wait and see what the scout report comes back and says. But for now, I think those are the only 3 bids that I'll put in. Obviously not going to rule out putting in more bids later on, but for now we'll just put those 3 in and find out how we get on with those. We're also going to do some of those player drills as well. We're going to set up the first 5 drills for this week, and I'll be back once I've decided on the 5 players that'll do the drills. Okay, so these are 5 training drills that we're going to go with. There's only 4 players because Mbappe has got 2 player drills, so we'll just go with 2 for him. We've also got Mendy in there, Lamar, and also Bakayoko also in there as well as our 5th drill. So we'll simulate all those this week. We'll train them up for the next few weeks, maybe 6 weeks or so, or a little bit less than that. We'll wait and see how they do. But this week, just a starting bit of growth there. But Mbappe is going to be so good for us. 17 years old, already 77 overall. Surely he's going to go on to really, really good things for us. And hopefully we can keep hold of him. I've got no intentions of selling those sort of players. That's not what I'm after in this career mode. We do have an initial bid for Kurt Zouma rejected by Chelsea. They want £21 million million for him. That seems a lot for Kurt Zouma. We will look to increase it to 14 million though to begin with, and see what Antonio Conte says about that. We've got to bear in mind he's a squad rotational player on there, so he should really be allowed to leave for around that amount of money. We'll wait and see though what they say with that second bid. Let's move on to some more player drills, and this is another reason why I decided not to do the pre-season tournaments. I wanted to be able to train up our players just before the season starts, and overall we're doing pretty well at the moment. We might see a bit more progress though next week. Okay, final scout report back on Malcolm, one of the players that we've obviously put a bid for, and he's 78 overall, actually a little bit better than I thought. His final stats are here as well. Great acceleration, agility, balance, that sort of thing. Dribbling very good as well. Finishing not too bad, obviously can be improved with a bit of training. Free kick accuracy is also very good as well. He looks like the sort of player that we need in this side, I think, to add to it a little bit. We've also got a scout report back on City as well, another guy that we're looking at from Nice, and again, he is kind of the sort of overall I expected, 80 overall, and I just think he's maybe a little bit too pricey for us at the moment. Wage-wise though, looks quite good, but I think we'll have to wait on him if we were to try and sign him. Let me know your thoughts about him down below in the comments. And we do have Bordeaux coming back about Malcolm, not 15.5 million for him, and we will just increase that to 13. This should accept that, I think, really. Okay, on to the bid that we put in for Vincent. Nice say it's too low, and they believe he's worth more than that. I think it was quite a low offer, 5 million to begin with. That was just to kind of see what they would say. Obviously, with them being rivals, we are going to have to pay a little bit more. £8 million is what we'll go with. But again, it's difficult to tell. I don't know what overall he is exactly. He's also a young player as well, so he might have his price inflate a little bit, especially with them being rivals. So we'll wait and see what they say to that. Scout report back on Kurt Zouma, 80 overall, so about what I expected, to be honest. And those key stats look really, really good. Strength and pace are very good. And of course, we'll be able to train up as well if we choose to. And we've also got the final scout report back on Vincent, the player that we've been looking at. 77 overall, better than I thought again. He is only 5'6", that's the only downside to him, but he's got decent pace, agility and balance. And yeah, he's actually looking like a decent young player. 81 short pass as well, so certainly someone that we are very interested in. And Bordeaux have accepted the bid for Malcolm, £13 million. He only wants 30 grand a week. I'm used to playing Premier League clubs on the whole, so that is absolutely nothing. I'll go with 5-year deal and import a first team player. And Chelsea's still holding out for 21 million for Kurt Zouma. That's a lot of money. I think we'll go 16. Don't really want to have to go much more than that, to be honest. He's already got quite a big salary relative to the rest of our players. So yeah, I'm hoping that they accept that. Nice again rejecting our bid. This time it was 8 million. They want 12 million pounds. Try and meet roughly in the middle, although slightly closer to my initial bids. We're going to go 9.5 million. A little bit reluctant to go the full 10, but I might have to if I want to try and sign him. Okay, more player drills. Hopefully this week we can see Mbappe go up on quite a few stats. He should even go up to 78 overall if that is the case as well. Let's wait and find out how he gets on. Again, doesn't quite manage to do it. He's had a bit of a slow progress in the first couple of weeks here for us, but I'm sure he'll start to pick things up. It just keeps on getting F grades on those drills that we're giving him. Okay, this is more like it. Malcolm's decided to accept the contract now. 30 grand a week, 13 million as well. I think it's a really good signing for us. Hopefully you guys agree as well. I think he could be a very, very promising player for us in this side. At centre attacking mid, I think in particular he could do some decent damage through the middle of the team. Very, very happy with that first signing. We've also got Nice as well coming back and accepting the £9.5 million bid for Vincent. It's good that we didn't quite manage to stretch to the 10 million. We got a little bit cheaper than maybe I would have gone to. Again, a 5-year contract, and again, I think important first team player is fair. We do have obviously a couple of other players in front of him at the moment. He'll certainly be on the bench, so I would have thought. And Chelsea have come back and accepted the bid for Zouma, 16 million. I thought we was going to have to go a little bit higher than that. Turns out that they might well, that they have accepted it, and we just need to actually change around our transfer budget a little bit. Can't quite stretch to the 80 grand a week just yet. Okay, again, a similar sort of situation. 5-year contract and important first team player. I'm just slightly worried now that we maybe don't quite have enough money to sign everyone. I thought we had more money than we actually did. 18 million, and Kurt Zouma's going to take up 16 of that. So we're going to have to potentially look at getting rid of some players if we want to try and finance those deals. Kurt Zouma does accept the contract. That's great news, and he can join us now if we choose to, but I might just wait on the other offers that we put in for other players. We've also got Vincent accepting the contract as well. So it's kind of between these two players at the moment. We could obviously go for a cheaper player to bring him in, but who do I actually need more? It's difficult to tell. I might have to take my time deciding here. It's a very close one, but I think just about we need Kurt Zouma a little bit more at the moment. We do have Moutinho, who can obviously play a very similar position to Vincent. I would like to try and sign him if we can, but I think it's going to have to be Kurt Zouma to begin with, just because I think we need another centre-back in there with a bit more quality. Not to necessarily replace anyone, but just as another option, because I wouldn't rule out going to 5 at the back at some stage during the season, if we do need to obviously try and play that. But Kurt Zouma, I think, is the one that we need to bring in, because Raggy in particular Even though he's obviously a decent player, he's good enough really. I would like Kurt Zouma to come into the side and potentially actually start ahead of Jemison, thinking about it, which would probably make more sense. And then we just have another option, plenty of centre-backs in the squad, which I always like because you get loads of injuries with your centre-backs and strikers in particular. So hopefully that'll be okay. We'll wait and see though whether we are able to sign Vincent as well for our centre-mid position. But like I say, we've got Moutinho on the bench at the moment. Malcolm will go at centre-attacking mid, I think, to begin with. We'll just see how that goes. And yeah, I don't think we urgently need Vincent, although it would be quite nice. It's also tempting to get rid of one of our strikers, obviously not Mbappe, but maybe Gorelo or Jermaine. We'll wait and see who is the one to get rid of. I think Jermaine actually looks quite good. I was tempted to get rid of him, but maybe it'll have to be Gorelo that actually leaves us. There's always obviously the option to recall a centre-mid if we were to need one throughout the season. We do have quite a lot of players out on loan, so we can always recall them if we need them. But yeah, I think I'll probably look at this guy as centre-mid if we did need desperately need another centre-mid during this season. Will this week be the week where we actually have a bit more progress with the players? It is. Mbappe goes up to 78 overall. Finally, some of his stats start to go up. Attacking position and shot power. We're just waiting on the finishing to go up to 77 now. I think his ball control went up as well, so much better this week. Has just taken him a little while to adapt to those training drills. And we've got a bid in for him actually here. RP Leipzig, £11 million. Absolutely not, that's how much he's worth, but no way. Not at 17 years old. We'll probably have time to play the first game of the league season, actually, I think, in this episode. So once we eventually get there, we will hopefully try and play it. We've got a bid in here from Real Madrid for Jorge, our secondary left-back. 20 years old, 72 overall. He's Brazilian. We got no interest in getting rid of him. I actually want to try and keep him, potentially train him up. Although, obviously, we've got other players that we're prioritising, first of all. But I think he could be really good. He's got good enough stats at the moment already. And, yeah, we'll wait and see whether we do have time to train him throughout the season. But, yeah, we are obviously missing out on Vincent at the moment. That deal's now expired. So we've got to get rid of someone to be able to, obviously, try and sign him up again. But we'll wait and see what comes of any more bids. Obviously, these sort of bids aren't really going to help us that much. Some more drills again this week. We might actually have some decent progress here, and we have to look at that. Mendy, Lamar, Bakayoko all going up there as well, and Mbappe doing a decent job. So very, very good growth early on. We're only a month in. I haven't quite managed to set up the youth academy yet. We're prioritising obviously the transfers. That's where the most of the money is going to go. We might well set one up in January or throughout the season if we pick up money from various different competitions. But for now, I think the priority is with bringing in a couple of those players. Vincent's still the player that I'm after. We're going to look to try and get him in, but it's going to be difficult, obviously, spending a big chunk of the money on Kurt Zouma, who I feel that was a decent signing, to be honest, but yeah, it's just a shame that it did cost us so much. Mbappe go up to 79 overall now. He's gone up on his finishing, and that was enough to take him up to the next overall. Gone up 2 overalls already. We're only a month in. This is crazy. Could see him go to a very high overall just in the first few months. Okay, so we've actually got to our first league game of the season now. And it is obviously going to be a game that we're going to try and win, as we want to try and do with all the matches. We'll wait and find out how good this side are. Not really too sure on the players that they have in this team, to be honest. But we are, I think, pretty much going to go with this side. It's difficult to tell whether I should start Mbappe or not. Although I think I might just go with him off the bench. I'm not really too sure how good Falcao will be in game. I think we will start with him. He's our captain, so we'll start with him up front, and we'll go with that side to begin with. Maybe just take off Gorelo, who we are looking to try and sell, and I think we'll just put on our centre attacking mid instead. So yeah, this is the side I've gone with. But yeah, let's wait and find out how he gets on our first league game. Okay, here we go. Our first game as Monaco manager on Legendary, so I'm not expecting an easy ride at all in this opening match. But our team, I think, is much stronger than theirs. So we should be expecting a good performance, but just because that is the case doesn't necessarily mean we will. And also, it is our first time with this team, so I've got to get used to it first, and we'll wait and see whether this is the right formation, the right team selection, all those sort of things, hopefully, in this match, because obviously we didn't have the pre-season tournament. Malcolm here with an early chance on his left foot. Oh, he's walked into the back of the net. That's 1-0. That's not the way I expected to score our first league goal of the season. It's an own goal, but it's Malcolm that's caused it on his left foot. The new signing, I think, will get an assist with that. That does cross the line quite blatantly, but I think that will go down as an own goal. It's 1-0, 4 minutes in, already starting to tear up this league by the looks of it. 5 minutes in, it's an own goal, and that is a brilliant start to this match. Takes off a little bit of pressure as well, but couldn't have really asked for a better start. Malcolm going to look for that ball through to Fabinho. The defence hasn't moved. Oh, it's going to make that 2-0. It's a poor finish in the end. We've opened them up really well. Good chance for them here, though. They've managed to get into our box. That's a good save, actually. That one could have easily have gone in. Subasic just managing to deal with it. And they have responded quite well, surprisingly, because I thought it was just going to be a fairly easy game by the way we started off. What a ball that is. Great chance for them here. And again, the finish wasn't quite on for them. But yeah, good ball over the top again. They're causing us some issues, not massive ones at the moment, but certainly better than they started off in the opening 5 minutes. Going to take this corner shot here. It's going to be Silva to deliver. It's a good ball in. Fabinho's in there, connects with it well, and just about manages to clear it away. The defender, Lemar on the outside here, needs some support in the middle. Great run from him. He's gone for the ball in. Falcao, he had to finish that one. We know how good his heading is, and it's 2-0. 44 minutes in. Falcao with his first goal of the season, and the captain scores. Very, very happy with that one. Fantastic build-up play as well. We needed a second goal before half-time just to again give us a bit more security because they have actually done okay, the opposition. They've not been throwing loads of chances at us, but they've had a decent amount. They've had enough chances maybe have got one themselves. But we just had a bit more quality, and Falcao finishing that one off brilliantly. I kind of want to bring on Mbappe at half-time, to be honest, take off Falcao and kind of just rest a couple of players. Because even though it's only 2-0, it is a pretty convincing one at the moment. So it's tempting to bring on Mbappe. I want to see how he plays, because his stats are fantastic. So if he plays as good as his stats are, then could really have a very good player on our hands. Half-time, 2-0. Fantastic result so far. Very happy with the way the team's playing. They're playing perfectly at the moment. Can't really fault them. And yeah, I am tempted to look to the bench, bringing on Mbappe and seeing how he gets on. But yeah, stats-wise, he looks incredible. I really want to try him out. I think this might be the right game to do it. I might take off Malcolm, to be honest, and just put Falcao in behind Mbappe. We'll see how it goes. It's a little bit experimental. I know it's obviously a little bit harsh on Malcolm to take him off 45 minutes into his debut. But I'm just going to do that for now. See how we get on. Falcao, look for that pass out wide to Silva. It's brilliant. Silva now needs Mbappe to get into the box if he can. Still going here, Silva. Can he hold him off and get a turn and a cross in? Mbappe does get a head to it. Doesn't manage to direct it towards goal, but it's a great start from him coming off the bench. His first chance was nearly a goal, not too far wide. Okay, final two changes now. We are going to basically bring on Moutinho and Dira, I think is how you pronounce his name. Again, let me know if I'm pronouncing them wrong in the comments below if you know. And we'll take off Falcao and Fabinho as well. Lamar's going to go play as centre attacking mid. Silva will move on to the left-hand side. So a slight switch there in the way that we're going to approach the game for the final 30 minutes. Hopefully it's going to be enough, though, to see the game out and maybe even get a third goal. Yes, Moutinho wins it back. Look for that pass now to Mbappe. Haven't managed to get him into the right positions at the moment. It's been a little bit frustrating. A chance maybe for us here, though. Lemar. Going to be a turn by Moutinho to shoot. Oh, I thought it was 3-0. Should have been. Got brought down there at one point. Looks like it could have been a penalty. The shot should have probably flown in the back of the net, though. Great chance. 5 minutes to go here in this game. Mbappe's not been involved too much at the moment. I've just told him to get him behind a little bit more because he's not been doing that. He's not performed bad, he's just been a little bit quiet in this match. I think obviously with a bit more time on the pitch he'll probably perform a bit better. But I think his stats, they kind of speak for themselves, to be honest. I'm not that worried about him underperforming or anything like that. But like I say, just a bit more time on the pitch and also trying to get him behind a little bit more. I'm sure he'll start to pick up some goals at some point. It's only the first league game of the season. Chance for them actually in behind. It's 2-1. They probably deserved it, actually, based on the chances they've had. They've had some decent ones. It's not been an easy game for us. They've actually challenged us more than I expected. And actually, they've taken this one. They haven't taken the other chances, but this one they do. Off the post and in, it's 2-1. Haven't quite managed to get the clean sheet in this game. But yeah, certainly a very interesting match, this one. Has taught me a lot about the players that have been starting. And also about where we can improve and things like that. So, a very interesting game, but a good performance overall. We deserved to win. We were the better team overall, but they certainly had the chances, but couldn't quite take all of them. And on another day, it could have been probably 2-2, and you can see that from the stats. That they did have more possession. We just had one more shot. So yeah, decent 3 points to begin the season, but like I said, we can obviously improve with a few different things. Paris actually drawing in their first league game of the season, so that's helped us out early on. That's great news for us. Them dropping 2 points in their opening league game of the season. And we've got an email here to look at, a transfer offer in. Who's it for? Germain, a player that I'm not interested in getting rid of, but it's from Roma, 15.5 million. Of course, that would be able to finance the deal for Vincent if we wanted to. But I don't want to. I don't want to get rid of him. I think he'll be a very good player for us when we need him. Obviously, Mbappe is going to be ahead of him, along with Falcao. But I think we will need him at some point, with us having European football as well. So I think we will have to keep him in the squad. We'll quickly do some player development, then we will end things here for today's episode. Really enjoyed it, though. I think it's fantastic the way it's been performing our first league game of the season. And it's probably my favourite career mode that I've done in a long time so far. And that's just one game in. So hopefully things can get even better. And yeah, I am really enjoying the squad. Overall, such a good young squad that I think we can do some very, very good things this season. So let me know your thoughts about this episode in the comments below. I would really appreciate that. And also, if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video. Let's try and hit 50 likes as well on the first episode of this series. And I'll see you guys shortly for the next episode. Thanks for watching and goodbye.